Hi guys, here we are in sunny.
There's the other one.
Okay, we're in sunny Thailand, enjoying my winter vacation. I'm not looking forward to going back to the winter, like, but hey. Anyway, while I'm over here, I've met a couple of boys, a couple of lads, expatriates, expats, and quite a few of them are fishermen. And as in my travels, I bumped into a few, and today I bumped into Dixon. Now, I had a vlog not so long ago, and somebody mentioned Dennis in a sort of a legend status. So here you are. But after talking to Dennis, he's basically telling me that he used to fish with a couple of the other stars like Ivan Marks and Kevin Ashurst and a few others. You know, so. It'd be
Not
interesting.
with them.
Yeah.
I didn't reach that status, Clive. I fished
Okay.
against them.
What were you saying, Dennis?
Hello everybody. How are you doing? I'm with Clive in Thailand. Picked
Yeah.
him up this morning to take him fishing,
Yeah.
and he's already got 2 fish ahead of me. But I have put him in the best swim on the lake. So
Any excuse.
any excuse, yeah. If I get beat, I've always got a good excuse.
Yeah. I think a good angler's got a good excuse.
Absolutely, yeah. So he's at the moment he's fishing the slider in about 14 feet of water,
Yeah.
and he's had one what we call paku. The Thai people call them jalamet, and one esoc that the English, when they see them, they think they're grass carp.
Ah,
They
right,
both
yeah.
they've both been around about 6 pounds in weight, and
Oh, good, yeah.
stretched his line out a little bit. So I think he's quite happy at the moment. Yeah.
So there you are, I'm giving him a pattern. Anyway, on a more serious note, Dennis, you were telling me not so long ago that, like myself, you were into a lot of innovations and so on. And you did show me a feeder that you designed long before, I suppose, well, when feeders first come out, you designed one that attaches to the top of the feeder. Because I know we were talking about that problem where a fish will actually come up and peck the feeder, and this was a way of eliminating or catching fish when they done that. Because I know they done a similar thing on the River Severn. They used to put like elastic band onto the top of the feeder, but you made one with actual with the proper attachment.
With a ring on the top of the dome, as it were.
Yeah.
What you used to do, you set it up more or less paternoster style.
Yeah.
You would obviously bait the feeder, bait the hook, then you pulled the hook length back to the little ring on top of the feeder. So it was always presented exactly on top of the bait. Obviously, the weight was on the bottom. The hook bait was on the top, and you never caught the fish any other way but hooked in the bottom lip. So you could imagine them going head down, tail up, and picking up the bait off the top of the bowl, and they were always hooked in the bottom lip. Worked well, but things have moved on since then quite a bit. So
well, I don't know. Sometimes, Dennis, what you find is a lot of these methods still come back. I intermingle a lot of my old methods to today's modern fishing, and it works. It gives me that little bit of advantage sometimes. So we'll have a look at that in a minute because he's actually got one in his box somewhere. But I'm going to ask him another question in a minute. Hold on. Okay, so that was very interesting. Now, another thing he was telling me, now we got a mutual friend in Kevin Ashurst, and he was telling me about Kevin, where he was, well, it's all right, we're looking at some fish topping you. Yeah. Yeah, he was telling me that he was fishing next to Kevin once, and he noticed he kept putting his hand in his pocket. Actually, I'll ask Dennis to explain what he was doing, because I tell you what a brilliant thing in angling. Because I think you said, Dennis, he was one of the hardest anglers to ever beat.
oh, he was a superb angler.
Yeah, he was.
Now, I can remember Kevin and I in Ireland, and we're both on corner grade, and I'm in the next peg to him, and we're both catching roach, as you do there. There's lots of roach in that area. But I noticed every now and again, Kevin would put his hand in his side pocket, And I thought, I wonder what he's doing. At the end of the day, I did figure it out. He had a pocket full of sawdust, whereby normally people would keep on swinging the ropes to hand, hold them against their chest, and sometimes they flipping about and they lose the fish or whatever. But Kevin hand was always covered in sawdust, so it was like a good gripping device to keep hold of the fish when it was landed. And you know, you've only got to be successful in what you're doing. 90% of the time, as opposed to everybody's 80% of the time, and then obviously you win the matches, which Kevin used to do on a regular basis.
Well, you know, it is those percentages that makes you the winner, really, because you know, it's like if we're bleak fishing or we're catching lots of roach. It's all about time. You know, I suppose time of motion. Yeah. So you know, I suppose. So what a brilliant thinking that Kevin was. Yeah, Dennis, you were also telling me about another innovation that Kevin came up with once.
Well, it wasn't so much an innovation; it was a way of getting round a problem. We were both, once again, I was unlucky enough to be pegged next door to him, and it was blowing an absolute gale, and we were you were basically fishing for bream on that particular day, and it was virtually impossible to see the bites on the quiver tip or whatever. So Kevin gets off his perch. We both had to come off the stands and sit on the ground because it was so windy. And Kevin got down and went in that. I could only describe it as a cesspit of a it was wicker baskets at the time. That's how long ago it was.
I remember them.
Yeah, and Kevin goes into his basket and he's sorting around and things are coming out of the basket, and anyway comes out with a butt indicator. Yeah, so. Sits there behind the stand, manages to keep out of the wind enough to see the bites on this butt indicator, and I'm pretty sure he ended up winning the section, if not the match, on that particular day, because he got round. He was good enough to get round the problem that was there on that day. Good thinking angler, you know.
Brilliant, yeah, because you know I'm a firm believer in that, because sometimes you have tactics in on your mind and you're thinking, how can you improve on it, and obviously on that occasion with the wind, that was a very good thinking on his behalf. Yeah, so while we're over here, obviously Dennis has been here for about 12 years or more now. He did pack up fishing, obviously when he came over here, and I just happened to bump into Dennis just about 2 or 3 years ago, I think it was, Dennis, wasn't it? And we were having a little competition on a place called Wilf's Fishery, but unfortunately it's closed now. But Dennis was in the corner and he was watching us, and you know, we started chatting, and I said, why don't you join us? And anyway, he had a little method on the paste, and he always seemed to catch that bloody big fish. I remember that one match, Dennis, we both, I had a Siamese right at the death, and you were winning the match with a Siamese, and I think I just done you by a couple of houses, I think.
Yeah.
But you use the paste quite a lot over here, don't you? Yeah.
But I have to mention that you did run up the lake about 30 yards with his Siamese attached to. Everybody needs to know the truth here, you know?
Yeah, here we go again. Any excuse. But it's interesting. He's tell you what he's done. Again, it's all about innovations, and you're limited to the tackle over here. And what Dennis has done, which is quite interesting, as you know, these fish are quite big that we catch over here. Like the ones I've had have been, £7-8 pound each, and they take a bit of stopping. Of course, Dennis is fishing a pole now, and something interesting he's done. I'll show you now. He's converted an old fiberglass pole, and he's put a puller bung in it, which is almost 3-4 meters. Because of course, when these fish go, they go. I'll show you now. There you go. There's the pole. You see don't know if you can quite see that puller bung. See if I can get that a bit closer.
There's about 5 meters of elastic inside.
About 5 meters elastic. Bloody hell. So
compared to the reason being that these fish take off at such a whack.
Yeah.
That English carp are pussies compared to these things.
Oh I know.
If you just had like the normal 2 or 3 meters of elastic in the pole, you'd get snapped unless you were fishing 20-pound line. And they don't like 20-pound line. If you get a lot more bites, obviously, by fishing a lighter line and a smaller hook. And that's a way of trying to get around the problem. I've had fish up to Oh, double figures now
Have you?
on this particular rig, and I just think it's a lot more fun
Yeah,
fishing
yeah.
this way than it is with a
Yeah.
running line and here and it's just something else, something different to do. You know.
Well, I know back home they got these pullers, you know, and they're usually only in the top two, but that's interesting. I wonder whether it worked back home. But of course, the fish probably don't fight as hard, I don't think. I think they get your initial run and then you normally get them in. But interesting. It's also shown me a couple of other different methods with paste and also these Thai waggler floats, which are so sensitive. I mean, I'm using one now today, but they're so sensitive. Just you know, a number 8 makes a difference between it sinking and you know the tip coming out of the water.
It moves
So.
it about 3 inches, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just a number 8 shot will move that tip at least 3
Yeah,
inches.
yeah, 3 inches lift on the float when I took a BB off. So yeah, fantastic. Well, it's a lovely looking place around here. They call it the Paku Lake. Don't know the name of it. I'll try and take a picture of the front of it, I think. But it's not far. It's just outside Pattaya. It's more towards John TM. So it's only, how much is it? 100 baht?
200.
Oh, 200 baht for the day, yeah. Which is about
£5. Yeah.
about a fiver. Yeah, yes, okay. Yeah, we're enjoying ourselves. Plenty of fish topping, look. Yeah, of course, Dennis done a lot of his fishing on the canals. What canal was that, Dennis? You used to-
Mainly on the Grand Union.
on the Grand Union, yeah.
Which
Okay.
was great diversity of fish. They went from chub, carp,
Yeah. Okay.
to, I mean, all sorts of stuff. Obviously, the cutchin and the usual stuff.
Yeah.
There's areas where there's a hell of a lot of carp now they were put in. I used to have the record on the Grand Union weight-wise, and then I think Billy Makin shortly afterwards, or maybe a year later, broke that record.
That's
because
right.
obviously the carp were growing.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And but there was a lot of chub. I used to love fishing
Yeah.
at areas like Denham, and
Yeah.
of course you could catch carp, chub. It's a great canal, really. We used to have a lot of evening matches there, and it
But of course,
was good.
you were telling me this in them days it was all waggler, and of course when the pole come along, you know, I suppose that took over as the main method then.
Well, the skill in those days
Yeah.
was a backhanded waggler underneath the
Right.
overhanging willows and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
and figuring out how to catch the chub without spooking them.
Okay.
And it was quite a skillful method. Obviously, you had to feed it right, and you had to present the bait correctly. But as soon as the 16-metre poles came in, that
That was the end of it. Yeah,
that
yeah.
advantage was gone. you
Taken
know.
away, yeah.
But it was they
Yeah.
were great days. I enjoyed it.
Great days, yeah.
And I enjoyed fishing the pole afterwards as well. It was a at the time when you can actually hold something 16 metres long with one arm, then you know that's fabulous.
Brilliant.
Hell of a price to pay in those days. For
Yeah. I mean, catching carp on canals though, funny enough, I can remember the time we fished in the Kent and Avon, and Mark Harper had caught this bloody big carp. He was absolutely, you know, belting the match.
Yeah.
You know, anyway, people going up looking at it. Even I went up to have a look.
Yeah.
And before the end of the match, it only jumped out of his net.
He must have been good.
Oh
wasn't he?
yeah, Mark Harper from Bristol, very good angler, but never get that. Those are days.
Shit happens.
Shit happens. Anyway, the other thing, Dennis, we were talking about, I used to do quite a bit of fishing with Ivan Marks as well. Tell me a story or two about that. Yeah, so about Ivan.
Lovely man.
Yeah,
I
he was
enjoyed
good,
his
yeah.
company. I was never part of his team or anything like that, but
No.
we fished next to each other on several occasions in Ireland, and I'm in the downstream peg to him, and Ivan will do anything to pull fish, and I was doing the usual thing with the ground bait, and he said, Dan, you're putting too much ground bait in there.
Yeah.
So I said, Ivan, you do it your way and I'll do it mine. He wanted me to stop feeding, so as soon as I'd stopped feeding, Ivan would have ploughed it in and pulled the fish, you know. So anyway, we were neck and neck all the way through, and I can remember it was such a laugh because Right at the end, Ivan dropped a perch. It just came off the hook that was about 6 or 7 ounces.
Yeah.
And I ended up beating him on the day by 3 ounces.
Bloody hell.
I never heard the last of it. You know,
No,
but,
no.
oh,
Oh,
it was
yeah.
funny. But what a lovely man. You know.
Yeah, Ivan. No, I remember Ivan. He
He
was.
used to come all the way down
Yeah.
to the Crown Fishery at Broxbourne to fish the matches down there.
Yeah.
And we always ended up having a chat and and one thing and another. But lovely guy. Fond memories of Ivan. Nice bloke.
Yeah. Well, I can remember Ivan when he came down on the Y as well once, and he joked once because we used to use these big 8 to 10 one-shot floats. And what happened was that after the match, he was talking. He said, "I've never seen floats so big." He said, "You need a landing net to land the float. Never mind the fish." But he used to come up with some great stuff. Of course, I remember talking about the bream. I remember him telling us once that the guy next to him was catching loads and loads of bream, and he, because he obviously got the mentality of a bream, because he used to say about how would you fancy if you're having your dinner, your breakfast, and all of a sudden the ceiling comes down, comes crashing, you'll move out you move out of the room. Well, he used that philosophy, he told me once, when an angler next to him was absolutely battering him, and what Ivan done then, he thought, right, you put a load of ground bait in, and he made it so obvious that the guy panicked, and the guy started throwing ground bait in case he lost his fish. And guess what happened? He said all the fish moved out of his swim, moved into Ivan's swim. So another great thinking angler.
One of his tricks, yeah.
Yeah, one of his tricks.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Dennis was saying he used to fish the Trent as well, but he wasn't very successful. Like, although he kept going, and well, there's a lot of anglers like that. You keep going to venues even though they don't do well. But you've got to adapt, I suppose. But talking about old times is we're saying Billy Macon. Billy, I'm going to try and do an interview with Billy if I can in the next week or two while I'm here. He's a character. He got a pub now over here, and he's more interested in wine, women, and drinking at the moment. Another one I'm going to try and do an interview is an old guy named Alf. Now Alf got some stories, and Alf is in his 80 years of age now, so I think it's tomorrow we're meeting Alf, isn't it? I think?
Yeah, tomorrow. We'll see him tomorrow.
Yeah. So we're going to see Alf tomorrow and have a chat with him as well. Another angler I want to interview is the current world record holder, carp, John Harvey. Now, I used to fish with his dad over in the West Country, so that's how I got friendly with John, because we used to chat about it, So, so that's, come back and see that one. Hopefully that'll be in the next day or two. Yeah, so here's the fishery we're fishing. So Dennis. Well, it's a lovely day. It's about 21, 22 degrees. It's probably going to get a little bit hotter, but at the moment it's perfect. A slight wind, just keeping us cool. Probably have a few beers after. Yeah, just look at the poster. There's a big alapama in there. There's one in there, about 250 pound, I reckon. There's a pacu, which I've just caught. We've got red tails, alligator gar. So there you are. That would be interesting. See if we can catch him.